Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
As entrepreneurs, we have this amazing ability, this amazing opportunity to have ideas and to monetize our ideas. This is such a foreign reality to the majority of people out there. Majority of people out there are working for somebody else's ideas, right? And you as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to come up with a concept, validate it with your audience, and then say, if you're interested in more, let's work together. You can pay for it, or if it's a product, if you want this in your home, if you want to use this yourself, you can pay for it.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, empowerment coach, visibility and marketing expert, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Okay, so let me share my lessons from my Disney World trip and why this has really encouraged me with the message that I already share in everything that I do, that everything that you need is inside of you, and that you are the magic. And that's something that they sing during the fireworks show in the Magic Kingdom. But let me start with the practical and logistical aspects of the trip. First off, we decided to go in January because obviously the kids are in school. So we pulled the kids from school for a few days, and I was very intentional in making it a short trip because I didn't want them to miss school. Granted, they're in first grade, so it's not, super earth shattering, but still I didn't want them to have that much stuff to make up for. And so we decided to go in January. And fun fact, when I went to Disney World as a kid from Brazil in 1997, and I was 10, I went in January for this very reason. We decided to go in January while I was in school, or maybe I was not. I think the classes had already started and I didn't miss much, but we decided intentionally not to go during our vacation that we have in Brazil in July because we knew how much busier it was. But newsflash, friend, there is no non-busy season in Disney World. So let me just break that to you. Disney is always busy. And this is something that I heard from one of the cast members, or, the employees. They call themselves cast members, by the way, which is a fun terminology, fun name. There is no non-busy season. So, you think ski resorts, obviously, when kids are back in school and there's not a whole lot of snow, it's a low season, right? This doesn't exist in Disney World. At this point, 2023, it's either busy or extremely busy. And I will have you know that Magic Kingdom is the busiest park, like insanity. There's people everywhere. It's crazy. So newsflash, if you were hoping to find a low season in Disney World, that doesn't exist. So just be prepared for crowds and very long lines. That said, I advise you to get support. So I did hire a friend that works as a concierge. So she's not a travel agent, and she really does this because she loves Disney and she loves helping people because she goes there regularly and she's really up to date with the newest rides, the newest updates, if rides close, all of that stuff. Her name's Lisa Roth. She's local here to Colorado. So I would love to connect you with her because she did a fantastic job getting me prepared because I hadn't gone since I was 10. I did go to Disneyland in my 20s, but it's a completely different story. Disneyland, Disney World, they're different worlds. So she was really, really helpful in that. Yes, I would love to put, let me see if I can tag her because Facebook is weird. Oh yeah, I can tag her. And you can connect with her. So it's not a travel agent service, but she helped me book the tickets via the Disney website. And she literally came to my home with a folder with the day plan for each park, the best rides, where to go. We had a conversation ahead of time about like, what do your kids actually want to do? She gave me recommendations based on their age. So it was very, very helpful. And now looking back, had I not had that conversation with her and had her support, it would have been pretty frustrating, which there were still some frustrations, and I will be sharing. Anyway, so in terms of age, something for you to think about is the majority of the rides in Disney. I didn't go to Animal Kingdom, so that's a disclaimer there. I went to Epcot, Magic Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. We decided not to go to Animal Kingdom because we didn't want to add a fourth day, but the majority of the rides, hands down, are created for smaller children. But here's the kicker. They probably won't remember. So that was one of the frustrations that I had, and I will get into the frustrations later on, but I already want to set the stage for you to know that it's tricky with Disney and kids. Obviously, if you're grown up and it's the nostalgia and you love it, then that's one thing. But when you're thinking as a mom and the exhaustion that ensues, the majority of people have strollers and they rent strollers. And for me, having 3 kids the same age, I don't see myself having gone through what I did with them being 7 at a younger age. It would have been an utter nightmare. They were super troopers. Yes, we sat down to rest. Obviously to be 2 because my parents went and they're in their 70s. But for the most part, they walked and they were fine. Another point is the weather in January is a lot better than in July, but it was still in the 80s. So problematics of going at a alleged low season, and I put air quotes here because there's no low season, like I said, is that it's still going to be warm. And you may, though, encounter days of rain, and that may literally rain on your parade because then you have to wear raincoats or, the ponchos. And it's just not going to be the same experience if you're waiting out and it's raining, which thankfully we didn't go through that. Some people had commented as I was planning to leave or, getting ready to leave. There's like, oh, I was just in Florida and it was like 30 some degrees. It was colder than here in Colorado, which is crazy. So you have to be prepared for, cold temperatures, and humidity are very different. But we had great days. All the 3 days that we went to the park, it was pretty warm to the point of being extra warm. So we were literally wearing shorts, tank tops. We had to, put sunscreen and be mindful of all of that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going with very small kids, you're putting yourself through a lot of work and trouble for something that they may not enjoy because they're going to be tired. And so they're going to need to sleep, which means you're not going to go to many things because you're going to be tending to the child. And they may not remember anyway. So I feel like 7 years old for my kids was an amazing threshold because they are still young enough to believe in the magic. And some points they were catching on to the fact that those things weren't real. There were things hanging from places. They weren't really flying. Like, they were aware of these things, but it was still magical. They still had a lot of fun. But that's where I think, like, when I went at 10 years old, and I'm going to share this later on in terms of the mindset, when I went at 10 years old, 20 some years ago, so 26 years ago, for one, I was coming from Brazil. So the magic from coming from another country, when you don't already live the American reality, I will tell you this right now, for those of you Americans that don't know this, it's already like on top of the experience because you're not used to the way things operate and the way things are organized, especially coming from a third world country. Okay. Top that with the magic of meeting characters and seeing the things that you only see on TV and on movies. It's extraordinary, right? But then going back as an adult, obviously knowing more things and having lived in the United States, it's really not the same thing. So not to discourage you to go to Disney because it's still monumental. And I'll get into that when we talk about entrepreneurship, but that's why if you can minimize the stress, by having somebody help you, picking dates where it's going to be better in terms of the crowds and the weather, I would do that. So bottom line to this section here is I would not go to Disney with kids in July. Who would ever in their right mind, unless it was free, but still, ooh, it's a lot. Okay. So if you have more questions about that, we can talk about it later. And final thing on this section here that I want to say is be okay with investing on the fast pass, which is called a lightning lane. When Lisa was walking me through everything, I was like, my parents are not going to want to invest in this. I don't want to pay for this. We're already paying $100+ a day for each person per park. So be, aware of that. Tickets to go inside the parks are $100+ depending on how many parks you book a day. So we booked 3 parks, which means you get a discount. But on average, it's going to be $100+ per person per park. Okay. So if you're going to all parks, and depending on the size of your party, be aware of that. So I was like, no way, we're just going to wait in line. But I didn't know that for the most popular rides, you're looking at waiting 60 to 90 minutes. So add everything else that I just told you, the weather, the kids, you've been walking all day. I made the executive decision, and my parents agreed with me, and we all agreed on investing on. I would much rather invest $100 and some more a day, including all the people. Because so for the fast pass, and I don't want to get into too much of the details here to bore you, in case you're not interested, but it's around $15 to $18 per person per day. Depends on the park, depends on the time of the year that you're going. So you're dumping some more money there, but you're going to be able to skip the line. And that's basically what the kids said. Can we skip the line on this one? Are we skipping the line on the next one? Because they didn't want to be waiting. So that's something else. Can your children stay in line for 90 minutes? Granted, there's stuff on the walls, there's things for them to see, but it's exhausting for you to pay all this money, go to the park, and then you only get to do a few rides because you've been literally waiting in line the entire time. So I'm just telling you right now, from the perspective of somebody that said, no way, no freaking way, I'm going to buy the fast pass, the lightning lane, buy the line. Be okay with investing in that. Otherwise, you're not going to go on the rides. And final disclaimer here is you may not go on the ride that you're expecting to go, period. Okay. And I'm going to get into the mindset and setting expectations here, because rides close down, several of them daily. And so even if you buy a lightning pass and you book that ride, by the time you get there, friend, it may be closed. And then they give you access to other rides, but it may not be the ride that you want. So let's talk about mindset here for a minute, and which has a lot to do with my segue into business, owning a business and entrepreneurship, because yes, you're going to go on this trip and you're going to have expectations. I want to, ride this ride. I want to take pictures of this specific place. I want my kids to meet this specific character, but you may not get to do all of those things. And you need to be okay with it, because are you going to let that ruin the experience for you? So knowing ahead of time, and I'm almost tempted to get into the business segue here, but it's the same thing. Like when you launch a program, right? When you get on a sales call, yes, the perfect scenario is this person is going to sign up, right? I'm going to have lots of registrations, but there is also the very real possibility that no one's going to want it, or that person's going to say no. So you have to have expectations. Otherwise, you're not going to do anything, right? If I didn't have expectations about my trip to Disney, I wouldn't go to Disney, right? If I didn't have expectations about how many people are going to sign up for this thing, I wasn't going to put this program out there, whatever program I'm launching or whatever. However, I still need to be able to manage the outcome, my reaction to the outcome when it happens. And to that, I say, focus on the good, because there's always good. And it's so interesting because I was just interviewing somebody for the podcast yesterday. I forget who it was. And she was saying, I'm telling you all this. Oh, it was one of my clients, Zill. Yes, I interviewed her for the podcast. You'll hear her soon. She was saying, telling me some of the highlights. And I love that she stopped and she said, but wait a minute, you're hearing me say all this, but there were days that I struggled. There were days where I didn't get client messages, that I didn't get encouragement, and I still kept on going. So I want you to keep that in mind, right? There will be things that are not going to go great on your trip. And we know this, analytically speaking, intellectually speaking, but then when we're in it, we're like, I'm so sad. And one of those aspects for me was what I just said, going to Disney the first time as a 10-year-old coming from Brazil, the experience as a 36-year-old, bringing my kids and wanting them to experience the same thing. Granted, I know that they had a fun time, but I had that expectation in my mind because that was the last thing that I had done 26 years ago. So I was like, oh, they're not enjoying it. This is not ideal. I wish we could do different things. I wish, one of the things was you need to get in the park as early as possible as it opens so that you get on the lines and start doing stuff, right? So you get in the parks like 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. The parks don't open until 8:30 or 9 a.m. And the fireworks or the night shows, the evening shows don't start until usually 8 something. So if you're wanting to watch this night stuff, you're going to have to stay there all day or leave and come back, which is even more of a hassle. Maybe if you're staying in the Disney hotels, it's not that big of a deal, but still, it's a long, long day. And I knew I wanted to stay until the end for Magic Kingdom, obviously, to watch the night stuff around the castle. But there's an amazing show at Disney Hollywood Studios that is the Fantasmic. It's back, and it's the whole, Mickey Fantasia extraordinaire. And everybody was so exhausted by then. And we still had to wait another hour to go sit there, find a spot, and then wait another hour for the show to start. Oh, it was so hard for me to say, no, let's just go, because everybody wanted to go. And I'm usually the one that pushes everybody. And I was like, you know what? We're staying tomorrow. We're staying late tomorrow. So that's fine. So this is the kind of stuff I wanted to warn you about, is that you may have certain ideas in your mind. And if you're stubborn like I am, just be prepared to be a little bit of, what is it called? To compromise. To compromise, because if you're not going alone, you're going to go with your family, right? Or at least one other person, and they may not feel the same way about stuff as you do. So that was kind of the sad part for me, because I also didn't feel like it was as magical because I was going back as an adult. And so the nostalgia aspect that I had experienced before was not 100% there. It was still great. But that was that. Final day, my mom loses her phone. She forgets her phone somewhere in some ride, which we don't know, but we rode some of the rides. We were in Epcot the last day, and then we sat down to eat finally. And she's looking through her purse and she's like, I can't find my phone. And another fun fact is that she really wanted to eat pizza, and we had been eating like hot dogs and burgers the other days. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to find a pizza place. And I assumed, being at Epcot, there's a whole Italy, right, country there, that I could find a place for pizza. They had restaurants, but when I searched for pizza on the app, which, by the way, if you don't know, there is an app now. So the way you look at the map, the way you look at the wait times for rides, it's all on an app. I mean, it's 2023, but in case you didn't know, because I didn't, you just walk around looking at your phone to find stuff. And you can reorder food on your phone so you don't have to wait in line. So that's what I looked for. I looked for a pizza place. I ordered everything, and then I was like, all right, let me find on the map where exactly it is. And I ordered the food in a different park. I ordered the food from a pizza place in Hollywood Studios. And there was no way of refunding. And then right at that time, when I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry, guys, I just ordered $70 worth of food at the wrong place, and we can't pick it up. We can't go in there. And there was no time to figure it out, because as soon as we sat down at this one Italian place, then my mom finds out she lost her phone. So we go and find customer service or guest services. My husband walks all the way across to the entrance of the park, goes in different rides asking for lost and found. Finally, he finds her phone. But it was just like the icing on the cake for the very last day. Anyways, so all of this happened, but what is the happy stuff? And that's where I will officially do my business segue. I got to say that watching the fireworks, staying until the end for the fireworks at Magic Kingdom, there was a little bit of a disappointment there because the electric evening parade does not exist anymore. And I didn't know that. It was just the fireworks. And I totally missed that in Lisa's instructions. She never said there was an electric parade, but somewhere in my mind, because of that's my memory from 26 years ago, I thought that there was one and I knew it was magical. So because of that, we missed the day parade because we were so busy getting in line and doing the other rides. We never actually sat down to watch the day parade. We kind of saw it from afar as we were walking around. Because I was like, we're going to sit here, we're going to watch the parade and the fireworks. There was no light parade. So that was a bummer. Apparently, they only do it in California now. I don't know. But the fireworks were amazing. And while they were doing the fireworks, they played the song called You Are the Magic. And it made me like emotional. It really made me like reflect on how, as entrepreneurs, we have this amazing ability, this amazing opportunity to have ideas and to monetize our ideas. This is such a foreign reality to the majority of people out there. Majority of people out there are working for somebody else's ideas, right? And you as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to come up with a concept, validate it with your audience, and then say, if you're interested in more, let's work together. You can pay for it, or if it's a product, if you want this in your home, and if you want to use this yourself, you can pay for it. And as much as it's beautiful, obviously it's also challenging because you have to go through the process of experimenting, of adjusting. But then comparing that with Disney, especially when they bring up the beginnings of it, right? With Walt Disney developing the stuff and the characters and all of that. And Epcot has a lot of that, of kind of showing the progression of even technology and all of those things. It kind of made me like a little sad in a way that things are so different right now. And social media and technology have kind of contributed to us losing a little bit of the magic because we see so much of everything. We have access to so much, and it's easy to forget that we are special. It's easy to forget that, what's going on right now is unparalleled. It's pretty insane that you get to, create your own YouTube channel and just get paid money to record videos. And while that's beautiful, again, it comes with challenges. Like we have this ability, but then it may make it easier for us to lose sight of gratitude, I feel, of all the opportunities and the things that we have going on. So for one, seeing those fireworks, hearing this song, 'cause you are the magic, made me be like, wow, I'm so inspired by this place because all of this came from a man's idea. And this is what I get to do in my business. And then the flip side of that is all of this developed not only because he was tenacious, right? Because if you know Walt Disney's story, as many people called him crazy, he heard no a billion times, and look at what he's created. But he also needed people to believe in his dream. And that's why when they say, at Magic Kingdom, you are the magic, it's this place wouldn't exist without you, with all these millions of people that visit every year. And that's also what we get to remember as entrepreneurs. Yes, we need to lean into our own inner magic to put things out, but we also need to recognize our audience's magic and remind them that they have that magic inside of them. So it's a two-way street, right? Without you watching me, and without all of my amazing clients and all the mentors and all the people that I've connected with through the years, there would be no Marta Spurk coaching, right? There would be no Empowered Woman podcast and all the programs that I've created. So there is our inner magic, and then there's also the magic behind the people that believe in us. So long story short, the biggest lesson that I learned, besides all of the logistics and all of the things, is that it is important for us to manage our expectations. It is important for us to look for the good. And at times it's easier to find the good when we're out of it. Now looking back at the pictures, the videos, now that I'm fully rested and showered for a few days back to my bed in my home, I look back and I'm like, oh, that was an amazing trip. I'm so glad we got to do that. And that's what I want to encourage you to think about if you're going through a tough time right now in your personal life or in your business. You'll look back, if you choose to, because it's a choice. You'll look back and you're going to be like, wow, amazing things came out of that. Whether it was hard, challenging or not, I learned some lessons. So it'll be easier to see the benefits of the hard times from the outside in. And also, the bigger lesson here too has to do with that long game mentality, has to do with being okay with experimenting. And again, the managing of the expectations, being okay with going into this, not knowing 100% what's going to happen. Are people going to love my idea? Are people going to buy my program? Am I going to spend all this time writing this sales page and then nobody's going to sign up? Being okay with the fact that it's all an experiment. Let me know if you're resonating with this. And that's why I want to bring to this conversation the idea of marketing and content and create a segue from all the speaking that I have been doing and encouraging women to do. Because if you've been following me for a while, you know that before I started focusing a lot on helping women with speaking specifically, I was talking about marketing. I am a marketing strategist. And all the showing up that I do and all the work that I do in helping women has to do with, you need to talk about what you do and what you have. Otherwise, people cannot hire you, right? One of my rules of thumb is, if I go to your website right now, can I pay you money? Because if not, that's a problem, right? For one, do you even have a place where I can go? Even if it's a link on your bio in your social media, if it's not a full-blown website, can I pay you money easily without actually having to talk to you? And I know depending on what you offer, that's a little different, but there are certain things that we need to have in place so that people can actually connect with us. And this goes for speaking as well. Recently, I had a conversation with a client that I was working on crafting her signature talk. And she said, yeah, because I just, I want to go and I really want to take this to the next level and become a speaker, be flying everywhere to speak. And I said, okay, so what is your call to action at the end? Because we're going to work backwards from that to create your talk. What is the offer that you want to really focus on? And she said, well, I wasn't really planning on offering anything. I was just going to get paid to speak. And I said, oh, wait a minute. Especially as you're starting out, especially as you're doing free speaking opportunities, which free in air quotes, because there's always an exchange of value, right? For testimonials, for pictures, etc., or bringing your books for sale. You're not going to get paid enough to bring in an income. You have to have a way for people to connect with you and pay you afterwards, right? After the talk. So yes, you can reach a point as a speaker where you get paid $15,000 or more per speaking engagement. But it doesn't start there. And even so, you're not going to be doing speaking engagements every day, So where's your income going to come from? You need to be able to market. And you need to be able to have something that you market. Because whether you know this or not, or want to admit this or not, or accept this or not, speaking is a form of marketing. Opening your mouth, not just speaking on stage, opening your mouth is marketing, because you're selling yourself everywhere all the time. Even if you're not in a business context, when you go out on a date, guess what? Everything that comes out of your mouth is a sales proposition, and it may be accepted or rejected, right? So when we're negotiating with our kids, when we're talking with our kids, we're selling ideas, right? And so mastering sales skills is very important for you to grow a business. There's just no way around it. Having a business is selling. And many business owners get frustrated with sales and they say, well, I'm going to hire out. I'm going to outsource my marketing. And I want to warn you around that, because yes, when you get bigger, you can have a team, but until you narrow down and really nail your messaging yourself, no one can do that for you, right? They can coach you and guide you. And that's why I want to share with you a free challenge that I have coming up. Let me put it up. I want to invite you to my Elevator Pitch by Design challenge. It's going to be a 3-day free messaging event for women entrepreneurs. I am so excited about this because I'm going to be infusing it with human design. So I'm going to be using human design to help you up-level your elevator pitch, whether it be for your bio, for your networking meetings, to create better sales pages, whatever have you. So you can get clear on your message, turn heads, and make sales, right? And bring out that inner magic to wow the world, and also help people recognize their inner magic and facilitate the transformations that you are already facilitating with your business. So this is going to start next week. So next Tuesday on Valentine's Day. How wonderful. So starting Valentine's Day, I'm going to go through Thursday, every day at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And it's all free. And I'm going to be sharing specific steps for you to use human design to really extract a compelling elevator pitch. And something else is that there is going to be a 4th call. There's a bonus call with my good friend and copywriter, Chrissy Agostina. She is going to be hosting this call on Friday. So after the 3 days, to give you feedback on your elevator pitch. So we're going to be recrafting or refining the elevator pitch that you already have. And she's going to be giving you feedback and also Q&A. You're going to have a copywriter at your fingertips. So here's the page. I will post the link. It's martasburke.com/elevator pitch. All the info is here, testimonials from the last time I launched this. And something else that I do want to share with you is that this is part of a launch of a program that I'm reopening. So for those of you who've been around, you know of my program, Show Up Empowered. Show Up Empowered is my flagship signature program that's 6 weeks with a focus on content creation, content strategy. So really marketing that converts into sales for you, whether it be on stage, on social media, in networking meetings, just with copy on your website, whatever have you. And this time around, I'm adding a twist. It's called Show Up Empowered with Human Design. So I'm going to use human design to help you craft marketing that has your soul signature in it. And that's why it magnetizes your audience and increases sales. And here's the kicker. If you sign up for the free challenge, you get to enroll on Show Up Empowered Early Bird. So let me show you here. You have early bird rates. It's going to be $200 off. Plus you get a custom human design report completely free if you decide to enroll in the program, even before we begin the challenge. So if you already know, all right, Marta, it's 2023. I want to take the world up by a storm with amazing marketing content so that people are really magnetized to my offers and I actually convert and increase my sales. Whether you are going for your first 10K month, whether you're going first to your 10K in sales in your business, it doesn't matter. We're going to use human design to help you with this. So if you join the challenge, I will give you all of the information so that you can enroll in the program with an early bird investment. So I'll be sharing more about this in the coming days, but this is what I have for you. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful in terms of the Disney tips. Tell me what was the most helpful tip, whether it was more logistical or the mindset piece. And I hope to see you in the challenge. So elevator pitch challenge, starting Valentine's Day with a bonus call with my friend, Chrissy Agostina. And if you join the challenge, the free challenge today, if you join before we actually get started, you have a huge early bird discount for my 6-week group program. So join in early. It's going to be an amazing experience. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you on the challenge.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.